Hello, my name is John Perugini. I'm the owner of Donatina Neapolitan Pizza Cafe. Donatina came from a combination of my two kids' names, Donato and Valentina. We're here today to talk about the Detroit pizza. Detroit pizza started obviously in Detroit, and when the car industry went out of business, there was an abundance of these pans. They used to put the tools in them and to clean all the grease off at the end of the night. So when they came in the next day, they had clean tools. So when they went out of business, there was an abundance of these pans. And they're blue steel, they're awesome, they get really hot. Some guys decided, I think the gentleman's name was Michael Randazzo, he decided to start making pizza in it. It's not your standard aluminum pan, and it cooks great in a high temperature oven. Basically, what we're gonna do is we try to manipulate the dough. We try to stretch out the dough without crushing it, manipulating it too much. So we always like to use our fingers. That way it stays nice and airy. And then basically, we're just gonna line it right in there. We're gonna season this with a little salt and oregano, and then we're gonna proof this for 24 hours. Proofing the dough, basically what you're letting it sit at room temperature so it rises and doubles and triples in size. We're at almost 75–80% hydration, which means it's 80% water, which gives you that light, airy texture. Now, one of the other things about the Detroit pizza is the cheese. Predominantly, this is a Wisconsin brick, cheddar, provolone, and mozzarella. There's no dough crust. So when you put the cheese into the pan, you're building it right against the pan. Most places will never do that because they're like, the cheese is gonna burn. You want that in this, because this is gonna make the crust. So basically, I like to pile it up nice and high on the edges, right around the pan. You wanna load the cheese up. And then you just fill in the center, because as it melts, it's gonna fill in on its own anyway. And then of course, we gotta use a little Pecorino Romano cheese. And that's your basic Detroit. I'm gonna do half of this pepperoni, because you know, the pepperoni we use here, we do a cup and char pepperoni, which is, it cups up, it burns, it gets nice and oily, but isn't it that fake greasy pepperoni oil? It's like, you know, nice spicy oil. Yeah, so we're gonna throw this in the oven. We cook this at 600 degrees, and it'll take about 15–20 minutes till the edges get nice and crisp, and we'll show you that when it comes out. You really got to get in there to separate the cheese from the pan. So now you're going to see the best part, because when you pull it out, there's your nice burnt cheese crust. I'm going to use my old machete slicer because this thing rocks. This is just a nice clean slice. And listen to it, because this is the best part. Now the sauce. This is a San Marzano tomato sauce that we add with just a little sea salt. This one's made with a little garlic, some oregano, and some crushed red pepper. So it has a little bit more of a kick than a traditional pizza sauce, but it's hot. That's the key important. And you want to pile it on. You don't want to be skimpy with the sauce, because there's no sauce on the pizza. So as you take bites of the pizza, you're going to get some bites that have cheese, and then some bites that have sauce. So then of course, we're gonna do some grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese I like to finish with, and some fresh basil. So there's nothing else to do but to taste it, and I'm good at that. So I just want to show you something about the dough. If you can see how all the air bubbles and how light and crispy that is, that's key to the Detroit pizza. It's a very light dough. I always like to add a little Mike's Hot Honey. It's a little sweet and spicy at the same time. I like to add it on nice. And you might laugh, thinking honey on pizza, but once you try it, you're gonna be hooked to it. Key, listen to what it sounds like when you're biting into this thing. It's amazing. Now that's a good pizza.